Hey friends, welcome to my very first grocery haul video. It's nearly February. Can you believe that we have been through 1 month of 2022 already? So I do my grocery shopping a month at a time. So I thought I would go through with you today and show you what I have purchased so you can see kind of how it all fits together for me. So as you know, I'm working on being as self-sufficient as possible. So at the moment, I'm purchasing from a few different places kind of while I get into the groove and figure out kind of what works best for me. So I used to do one big shop at the supermarket every month, but now I've diversified a little bit and I'm kind of building on something different. So what you'll see today is kind of a change in process and a change in how I'm doing things. Okay, I'm going to start with the dairy, with the cold stuff, so that I can get it put away. So just a little bit of background first. My first step is to move away from the supermarket and see what I can get in other places. And as I do that, I'm kind of thinking about ways that I can either get that from the source or do it myself instead. So it's an evolving process. So that's just a little bit of background there. Okay, so you can see here that I've got 4 bottles of milk. One we've actually already opened, it's gone in the fridge. So I used to buy all my milk for the whole month and I used to put it in the deep freeze. But since I've started doing my bulk baking, the milk doesn't always fit in the freezer for the whole month now. So I've gone back to buying it per week, but what I'm actually going to start doing is getting some A2 milk delivered to my house. So I'll give you some more information on that when I get started. So 5 bottles of milk for the week, 5 2-litre bottles of milk for the week. These ones go in the freezer and then we just take them out and use them as needed. Usually I will take one out the night before and leave it just in the sink with some hot water to get it started, and then by the morning it is probably 2/3 frozen. There's still ice in it, so it's still cold and it's still fresh and ready to go. And milk defrosts really nicely. It's fine to use after that, so that's where I go from there. Okay, so Parmesan. I was buying grated Parmesan, but it is more cost efficient and they come in bigger packets by buying it in the block. So I will just grate it from there. And then I only buy blocks of butter now. I used to buy spreadable butter, but I have since switched to this butter and the taste is completely different. If you haven't compared it, try it, because these blocks of butter taste completely different than any other spreadable butter or margarine or anything like that. Now I've started doing homemade pizzas once a month, so that is the brie for the adult pizzas. And then these, I have bought so many blocks of cheese this month, so this won't just be 1 month, I would say, but because I've got some bulk baking to do, we will be using a lot of cheese, and that's what that's for. And then ham. I buy these packets just because the ham is a little bit chunkier and we probably do 1 of these a week, and that's why I've got 4 there, so there'll be 1 every week for this month. And what I didn't talk about was this 2-litre bottle of cream. So the reason why I've got 2 litres of cream is, again, because I'm going to be doing some bulk baking, and that means that quite a few of the recipes use cream in it, and then I can just work the rest of that into the recipes that we're going to use for dinner. Now, what I didn't say before was where I got all the things from. So I'll just go through that quickly. So the milk and the butter, that came from the fruit and veggie shop. Because, again, I'm just trying to take my money away from the supermarket initially and then go from there. So the milk and the butter came from the fruit and veggie shop, and the ham and the cheese and the brie and the Parmesan, that still came from the supermarket as of right now. Okay, so now let's talk about the fresh fruit and vegetables. So we went to a farmer's market at the weekend. That's not something that we have done before because we didn't always have time for it, but it fitted in this week. So we went to a farmer's market also because I had heard that they had fresh corn, and corn is something that is a favourite in our house. So we went to the farmer's market for the corn. The rest of the fruit and vegetables I got from the fruit and vegetable shop. And I will show you what I got after that. Okay, so let's talk fruit and vegetables. So I'm going to go through the farmer's market stuff first. So this is the corn that I got. Now these bags were 10 cobs for $8. So we got 20 cobs for $16. And then in this bag I got 5 avocados. So these are fairly huge. And they were $2 each. Now, I don't mind spending a little bit more on the avocados because these ones are fresh. They're going to stay green for a while. They're going to last a lot longer. The ones you buy in the supermarket are very ripe, so they are not going to last as long. And sometimes you might find that they don't even last the week. So I got 5 of these. They were $2 each. I could have got smaller ones for $1 each, but I decided to go with the bigger ones. All right, and then I got a bag of Louisa plums. So this was $5 for the bag. So these are the plums here. So again, these are fresh, straight off the tree. Yum, yum. And I think that was all we got from the farmer's market. Right, so then I'm going to move on to the vegetables, and then I'll talk about the fruit for the week. So I try to buy vegetables that will last a month. I buy them all at once, and then whatever I need every week for what I've got planned to eat, I'll go and buy those. However, that's changing a little bit with the garden because we've got more stuff available there. Okay, so onions. I have got a bag of onions. This should last us for the month. And carrots also. I got a bag of carrots here, so that should last us the month as well. I also have some in the garden which should be ready soon. What else did I get? And potatoes. I've already got a whole lot of potatoes left over from last month. We didn't go through them as fast, so I didn't go and rebuy those. So then I bought courgettes because I didn't plant courgettes this year, as we don't eat them that much, but there's a couple of recipes that I use that have courgettes in them. So I've got those, and then a capsicum that we will need this week, and also a whole celery just to top up from what we already had in the fridge. So this is used for meals, but it's also used for snacking. We love it with peanut butter and salt on it. I don't know how you eat your celery, but I love having sticks of celery with peanut butter on top and then a little bit of salt on top of that. Right, and then fruit. So bananas. Got 2 lots of bananas here, and some of them will probably get ripe enough for us to make banana bread with them, and either I'll make that banana bread straight away or I'll chuck them in the freezer and then make it another time. A little bag of grapes. Now, because it's summer fruit, we do indulge just a little bit because summer fruits are my favorite and some of the kids as well. They are developing their taste buds for them, but we are getting a wider range of fruit being eaten here in the house. So yeah, we're taking advantage of the summer fruits at the moment. So nectarines. So I bought some nectarines there. Got some apples over here. We've got some apricots and some oranges, and that will take us through. So our strawberries have just stopped, but we were eating those constantly. We have got some blueberries. Actually, my parents have some blueberries, and we will get some from them. And then they also had some nectarines off their tree, so we've got double nectarines this week. But this rest of the fruit should take us through the week. And then just to add to that, I saw they had some pomegranates. So I thought I would buy a few of them because they can be frozen. So instead of going and buying the pre-packaged pomegranate seeds, I've just bought a few pomegranates that I can either hull first, or I can freeze them whole and then do it as I need. Now, you'll also notice that I have got plastic bags. Now, I do that sometimes because in our fridge, that's how we keep the cheese, because it gets used so often. It's just easier sometimes just to put the block of cheese in the plastic bag and keep that in the fridge. So while there are still some plastic bags available, I'm just stocking them up, and they can be reused for the cheese and whatever else, so they last a while. Okay, so now we're on to the meat. So first of all, I've got a bag of sausages here. That's because we're going to have a barbecue a couple of times this month because the weather is so nice. And then outside of that, I just have chicken. So this is chicken breasts, chicken thighs, and then chicken mince. Oh, and then some drumsticks in there too. Now, my ultimate goal is to grow our own meat chickens and process them ourselves. Before that, I'm looking currently for somewhere a little bit more organic to buy my chicken from. And until that point, the supermarket is where it's at. Now, this is the other reason that I try to keep a little bit of a stock of the plastic bags, because I find it easier to separate my chicken into the meals it's sized for and then store them in the freezer for the month until I need them. So on that, I buy my chicken breasts and my chicken thighs and the drumsticks per meal. So most meals I can base it on 2 chicken breasts for the meal. And some of them I've had to bump up to 3 just because the family's getting a little bit bigger and they eat a little bit more. So depending on what it is I'm making, it's usually either 2 or 3 chicken breasts for that meal. Thighs are usually, depending on what we make, but usually it's about 8 chicken thighs. And then drumsticks, we are working on between 10 and 12 at the moment, depending on how hungry people are at night time. Now you'll notice that there's no other meat in that purchase, and that's because I haven't been to the butcher yet for the month, but also because I don't really need a whole lot this month. I've managed to accumulate a little bit more than I needed, so I've got a little bit of spare stuff there. So I'm basically just going to need to go and get a couple of lamb racks and a mince, and that's about all for the month that I need in terms of other meat. Okay, so we're coming to the end of it. This is what's left is my pantry goods, and this is what is going to take me through the month, possibly longer. Okay, so this is the purchases from the supermarket, and these are the purchases from the fruit and veggie shop, which are actually getting bigger as I realize what else they have there. And then this is the fun stuff that I will show you towards the end. Right, so in my quest to not give the money to the supermarkets, here is what I bought when I was getting my fruit and vegetables. So I got a bulk bag of sugar. So this is 3 kilos, just pure cane sugar. Then I've got 2 bags of rice bubbles and cornflakes. Now, I am working on upping our breakfast game. So at the moment we have porridge, rice bubbles, cornflakes, or wheat bix as options. But I am working on adding more things in, so we're not having to go to cereals either. However, I do use rice bubbles for baking as well as the cornflakes and wheat bix too recently as well. So they do have multiple purposes, which means that they are getting used for other things as well as just breakfast. My dishwashing liquid, I am looking at changing up how I use my dishwashing liquid. So I'm looking at a homemade recipe for that as well, which is coming. The kids still like their pasta bake, so I do add that in once or twice every meal plan just to keep them happy as well. Chickpeas, because one of my kids likes to eat chickpeas just raw from the tin, so there's a few of those, plus a couple of our meals have chickpeas in them too. So 6 tins of chickpeas for this month. Then I've got 1 extra toilet duck. I've got 1 bottle of lemon juice. I do try to use real lemons, but this is quite good for when you are canning, and because I've got a little bit of that coming up, I'll be adding some of this into it. And then some extra baking paper and some paper towels. And this is from the supermarket. So we're going to have tacos twice this month. So I've got 2 lots of taco sauce. Again, this is something that I would like to be able to make myself, so that will be coming. Then we're going to be having homemade pizzas. So I've got the pizza sauce there ready for when we do that. Again, that's also something that I'd like to make myself. Honey. Now I bought so much honey because I use quite a bit of that in baking as well. So because I've got a big baking day coming up, I got extra stash. Now we also will be sourcing our own honey hopefully soon. My parents also have beehives, so we should be able to get some honey from those. There is the taco shells for the tacos that we're going to be having. I will be making my own taco mix this time, so I didn't buy those. And then yogurt. So I only buy the Easy-O yogurt at the moment, and we've got a few different flavors. So what have I got here? I've got coconut, and I got, this one's yummy, blackcurrant and acai berry. Then I've got some natural yogurts, and I usually try to plan to make these when I know that there's a recipe coming up for the month that needs natural yogurt in it. A passion fruit and salted caramel, vanilla, a couple of vanillas because the kids quite like that, mango, passion fruit, manuka honey, and another salted caramel. This is quite a delicacy, so I got a couple of these. Then on to, then spray oil. Now this spray oil is really good for muffin tins. That's usually what I use it for, just because it makes it easier to get the muffins or whatever it is out that you are putting in there. Toilet paper, 2 bathrooms, 6 people, so we usually go through 2 packets a month, if not more. Now this is the one thing that I can't give up yet, because one of the kids will only eat Uncle Toby's creamy honey sachet porridge. No matter what I do, no matter how hard I've tried, I cannot make it from scratch for him. It is just not the same. And he's got a certain way that he makes it, and it's got to be 3 packets for every breakfast. So there we go. We've got 100 sachets of Uncle Toby's porridge for the month. All right, I've got some dishwasher tablets. I am on my way to making a homemade version of dishwashing powder. Just got to get the time to sit down and sort that out. Then I got some extra rinse aid, so we had run out. Glass cleaner, shampoo, baby shampoo. I think this one is the one that I like the best on the kids here. So I've been using this for probably 10 years for the kids, and it still works well for them. My oldest is using adult stuff now, but this is the best I've found for babies. And then some toothpaste for the kids. And the last thing is some tortillas. Now these are for meals, but also because the kids quite like quesadillas for their lunch. So cheese and ham, or avocado as well, whatever goes on them. A couple of them are still just at cheese, but it's just an extra lunchbox snack that I can put in them, or lunch when they are at home. That's all from the supermarket. Okay, this is where I had the most fun this month. I have started going back to bin in. Now, if you are in New Zealand, you will know that back in the 90s, bin in was the bulk bin place to go for food. It wasn't that exciting, but it's changed now. And one thing I will tell you about buying your food from places like this is that the people are so appreciative of the money that you spend with them. You could choose to go somewhere else, you could choose to go to a supermarket, but you're choosing it to spend with them, and they really appreciate your business. So much so that they will give you free stuff. They will give you free things. Now, the bin in that I go to, I'm not sure if this is throughout the country, but they do have a rewards program. So that means that if you spend a certain amount of money, then you get a discount off your next purchase, which is what I ended up with today. Okay, so in my quest to not buy from the supermarket, this is what I've ended up with for the month. Right, so these are 5-litre containers that I bought, and I think they might have been $12 each. So this is white vinegar, and this is olive oil. And I have my smaller bottles that sit out on the bench, and this means that as we go through the bottle, I can refill it from here. This means that I won't be buying vinegar or olive oil for the next couple of months, and then when I do go back to get more, I can just take the empty containers with me and they can refill them to the top. They also do pasta, so I have bought our penny pasta for pasta bake, and then for our other macaroni dish that we eat, this is the spiral pasta that the kids like to have in it. Couscous as well, Israeli couscous. That's one of our favourite sides to have with dinner. So couscous is there. I've got a fun recipe that I will post up to show you how to use couscous and put it together. I needed some more icing sugar for baking, so that's there. And then almond meal, or almond flour, we use this for banana bread, so I was just topping up on that. Quinoa as well. In summer we've got some great, and even in winter we've got some great recipes to use with quinoa, so that's something I'm using more of. And actually you can grow quinoa, so I'm going to give that a go next year. Whole grain oats, where I use this for baking. I also use it for some desserts, and my husband uses it for his breakfast, so we create a cereal. And actually this cereal mix that I make for him goes in the bread that I make as well. Then we go to coconut sugar, because some of the recipes that I do for the lunchbox snacks have coconut sugar in them, and then I just needed to top up caster sugar, so that was the bag that I bought there. Then we've got linseeds or flaxseed, so I got 2 bags of that. That also goes in the cereal, and it goes on top of the bread that I make, so I use quite a bit of flaxseed. Then I have some sesame seeds. Now it's quite a big bag, it's 1 kilo, but it means that I can just keep them there and use them as I need them, so that will last me a long time. Goji berries, these go in the cereal as well, so I've got some of them. Dried apricots, these are used as snacks but also in the baking. These diced apricots, these go in the cereal mix as well as sultanas, so I topped up on those. Then I've got popcorn here, which I'm going to have a go at growing next year. Then I've got some macadamias and pistachios, because these are also going in the baking. I needed to top up on coconut. Now I get threaded coconut because I just like the chunkiness of it a little bit more than the desiccated coconut. It's just personal choice, but I prefer this one. Panko breadcrumbs, I use that with fish and a couple of chicken recipes. Then we've got almonds here, and banana chips the kids eat as snacks, and then chocolate chips. I got dark chocolate chips, but they also had white chocolate ones, so I'll give those a go too. Oh, and then the only spice I needed this month was cumin, because I have stocks of the rest. So what I take from this is that this will allow me to not go to the super or not do my shopping as much. So I could go, once I get all my canning and preserving, I could go my whole meal plan, the whole 3 months, without needing to go to the supermarket. I could just go once, and that could take me the whole time. Oh, and the last thing I got was sesame oil. So they do the full range of international foods. Sesame oil is something that I use quite often, so I got some of that. And they also do a lot of the organic stuff now. So they've got the bamboo toothbrushes, they've got the ethnic shampoos and conditioners and the soap bars. They've got all of the keto and the gluten-free and the dairy, like they've got all of those things there that you could need. So as I was saying, what I take from this is that I could go my whole 3 months meal plan without needing to go to the supermarket. It's also important to remember that once you buy one thing in bulk, it allows you the opportunity to buy something else in bulk, and that starts the ball rolling. And before you know it, you've changed the way that you purchase and think about your food. So thanks for joining me today. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this and you want to see more of it. Make sure that you comment down below with any ideas that you've got in how you purchase food and how you do your grocery shopping. I'd love to hear them below. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.